Welcome back to reading The Vortex, or a book all about where the law of attraction assembles all cooperative relationships. This is the material channeled by Esther Hicks, the entity Abraham, who I'm sure that many of you have heard of. This small section is entitled Life is About Our Relationships. You will never find yourself in a point in time when the subject of relationships is not an active part of your now experience. For everything you perceive or notice or know is because of your relationship with something else. Without a comparative experience, you would be unable to perceive or focus any kind of understanding within yourself. Therefore, it is accurate to say that without relationships, you could not exist at all. It is our desire that an even greater awareness of who you are will be awakened within you by reading this book, as you begin to explore the variety of relationships that you are already living. It is our desire that you experience an enhanced appreciation of your planet, your body, your family, your friends, your enemies, your government, your systems, your food, your finances, your animals, your work, your play, your purpose, your source, your soul, your past, your future, and your present. It is our desire that you come to remember that every relationship is eternal and that once it has been established, it is a part of your vibrational makeup forevermore, and that in your powerful now, where all that you have become converges with all that you are now becoming, you hold the power to create. Often, when you observe an unwanted or unpleasant experience, you believe that you are not personally a part of it, but instead a distant, disassociated, unattached observer of it. But that is never the case. Your observation of a situation, no matter how remote you believe yourself to be, makes you a co-creative partner of the experience. Over time, as you have interacted with one another, many of you have arrived at collective preferences about how life should be lived, and while you have come nowhere close to an agreement about what the appropriate way to live is, still, on the myriad subjects that you are experiencing, you continue to try to convince others to accept the preferences that you most prefer. All right, this really just carries on from what I was saying about the first part, that I really feel that Abraham is teaching us about individual consciousness versus collective and where to put our focus. And in this part, Abraham is telling us about how we contribute to creating a collective consciousness, which is an interesting thing because I feel like many of us feel, not all of us, but lots of us, especially if you're listening to this, probably feel that you have a responsibility to the world in some way. And in fact, Abraham always says that you are not here to improve the world at all. There is nothing here that you should be doing other than creating and living joyfully. Creating a joyful experience, that's all. Similarly, like Jason Brashear says, that we're not here to help evolve or move everyone in a certain direction. We are just all here to pass through and have the experience. Knowing that, and that's hard to accept perhaps because the relationships, the 3D obviously seems very real and very important. However, what's more important is your own individual experience of joyful creation. So, however, that can never be separated from the fact that you are still a creator of the collective experience as well, as Abraham has just described, just by your observation of it. So what can you do about that? How can you not be so involved with that? Well, firstly, by really focusing more on yourself and your own experience and less about what is going on outside. All those people worried about the war in the Ukraine, or worried about gender identity, or worried about Israel-Palestine, all of those things, they are becoming a part of a collective consciousness. And it is nobody's job to be helping those situations. Now, that sounds incredibly harsh. It probably sounds very unfeeling, very selfish. But if you are living by the law of attraction, if you've decided that, because that's a choice, as we've talked about with other books, you choose that you are awakened to this. You've chosen the red pill. Here you are. You know that reality is not as it seems. So if you know that, you have to live that. So you have to know that you are not supposed to be contributing to that collective atmosphere, because then you are a part of it. And even if you weren't, or even if you did your best, there's nothing that you can do to affect change on those things. Nor should you. Those are, everybody chooses the experience that they're having because, as it says here, I mean, we had free choice. We knew what we were coming to. We make our decisions along the way. Now, and then you see, or you know many people like this, that everybody is trying to convince others to accept our preferences. So you're trying to get other people to care about these things, or that everybody should become vegan, or whatever it might be. Whatever the latest, whatever the current thing is. But you're not supposed to be worrying about any of that. You are supposed to be living as an example of a joyful co-creator and following your internal guidance system, which I'm sure Abraham will talk much more about, which tells you if you are in alignment with your pre-birth agreement or not. So if you're in alignment with living the individual consciousness experience that you particularly chose, or you're not. So you need to be, how will you know if you're doing that? If it's joyful. Does it feel joyful to you to be worried about or talking about Israel-Palestine? Does it feel good to you to be worried about and talking about abortion rights? That's how you'll know. And that's all you have to do. And you have to spend way less time worried about what other people are doing and how you believe that what other people are doing is influencing your ability to be joyful. That is completely false. It's completely the inverse. And you do not need to be thinking about any of that at all. And you are not really living in the law of attraction experience. You're not really utilizing the knowledge that you have and the power that you have. So that might all be a bit controversial. I'm sure it will be. But I would love to hear about what you think about that as well. And please do share that in the comments. And I'll see you back here for the next part.